Behold, you probably did not expect me to review this. Well, I'm behind on one particular album that this guy released this year, so I wanted to review that, but I also thought it would be fun to get the other albums in here. So let's start at the beginning. Albums only. Let's get to it. Plus is the first studio album released by Ed Sheeran. This artist has come kind of a long way since this album has been released. But beginnings are kind of important to see where someone starts, where they're ending, if things are getting better, getting worse, mixing up in the middle of it all. Ed Sheeran, in my opinion, having listened to his albums, has had... I'm not really sure what to say. I guess I would put it in the perspective of everyone else in the audiences, the mainstream, that he has had some tremendous success. And yeah, I guess that's true. But from a personal perspective, in the albums category specifically, it's kind of a mixed bag in a way. But I still want to say it's more on the positive side, but that's what I'm here for, so let's get to that. This album came out in September of 2011. I had not yet gotten home from Chile, but when I did get home, I was there just in time for the hype for the A-Team. And I just wondered to myself, like, I think I like this song. I thought it had some great poetry to it. I thought it had some great realism to it. So I wondered, what else would we get from an artist like this guy? And I'm sure I heard a couple of other songs from this album back then, but I don't really remember much of it. It wasn't until his next album that I heard a lot more. Listening to this album several times before coming in to review this, I was actually a little shocked to see how mixed of opinions I have about this debut of an album. And really it comes down to this. I feel like Ed Sheeran, and this is kind of true for the rest of his albums, but specifically for this one, Ed Sheeran comes off as a guy through his music as a regular guy. Someone you would meet on the street and that you would think is very likable. But depending on if you got to hear him perform before he made this album, you could think that he had some star potential to him. The music here made me kind of think of people like me at that time. I thought it was kind of geared toward the typical or maybe stereotypical 21-year-olds at that time. And that is kind of what we're all like at that age. We all are a little of a mixed bag. We're not really sure where we're completely at yet. We think that we know a lot, but we know deep down that there's a lot of stuff out there that we got no clue what's going on. More things that I learned from Ed Sheeran's songwriting style. I don't remember at the moment much of his rapping. That's what it is, but it doesn't really come off like that. Not that rap can't be exclusively in hip-hop. It can definitely merge into other things, but it's just kind of odd. I don't feel like when he does it, at least in this album, that it particularly works. It's not that his rhymes in it are bad. It's just that I don't feel like they worked as well as he thought that they would. I can see a lot of other people thinking they're really catchy, and I think that's fine. But I don't latch on to those songs as much as I do his love songs, his ballads, his singer-songwriter standard kind of songs. For example, the song You and I, it does come across almost as a fast sing rather than a rap, but I don't know if I find it really artistic rather than just, let's try this because it might be clever kind of a thing. Also, the song You Need Me, I Don't Need You comes across a little cocky, a little arrogant, and it does feel like a lot of content is kind of just crammed in there. Another thing I realized, Mr. Sheeran, you talk a lot about drinking and smoking. Like a lot. And I'm not mentioning this to be like holier than thou or vain or I don't know. But I just found it really funny. Sometimes I feel like it's not meant to be in the song. Other times I feel like this is just kind of part of his life. So either go with it, look past it, or think, does it really fit the setting of the song? Sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. As someone who doesn't really partake in either of those things, that's not something I really want to have in my music, but there are times where it doesn't really matter. So pick and choose in a way. A song that I personally find shines really well is Small Bump. You are my one and only. You can wrap your finger. This is, to me, from a debut album from a starting artist, some pretty good gold right here. Hand clap. Good job. And finishing off the original ending of the album before the deluxe version is the song Give Me Love. Something really nice about that chorus ending. Very, very nice. Now, I do think it's a plus he added songs onto this, and he's done this with almost every album. Songs like Autumn Leaves and Gold Rush, these definitely add more to it. I'm glad that he is able to share a little bit more of himself, and thankfully for the most part, I think that anytime he has deluxe songs on there, it's more of a positive thing than a negative. So from a debut perspective, I think that some of the songs showcase, okay, there's some talent here. We should harness that. Some of these other things, I mean, if I had been his music manager, I would have maybe told him to cut a couple of things out. But from just a fan's perspective, I don't want to tell him to not do what he's doing. I think that if he likes doing this rap stuff on the side, like, that's okay. I just would encourage him to harness that. Special feature in that coming up in the next few reviews. Stay tuned. So, after having listened and reviewed this album, with production of 91%, creativity 84%, expression and lyrics 84%, I'm going to give this album a good. Enough good qualities for me to enjoy listening to this album. As you expected, I'm probably a little picky on some of the songs in here, but the good news is, because of this debut album, a lot more interesting things came. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. And remember, if you want to discover, promote, and review the best in entertainment, remember to subscribe and follow all the social media for this channel so you can get that yes in your life. See you next time.